Jansen Harris here with the Just Good Network. We're talking Falcons grading their offseason moves, mainly focusing in on Todd Gurley first. He was a 4-star in high school in North Carolina. At UGA, 17 touchdowns, 1,385 rushing yards, 6.2 yards per carry as a freshman. He was a monster. And then his sophomore and junior year, 900-plus yards in each of those seasons before he got hurt. Then he got drafted by the LA Rams, 14 touchdowns, 857 yards rushing last season, 3.8 yards a carry. That is really what people are mad about after he was just going off. I mean, you got a guy who has 58 touchdowns total with the Rams, 12 receiving touchdowns, 218 yards receiving. Todd Gurley, when healthy, we've said this many times, he's a monster. But that knee has been an issue since he was at UGA. Now, this one is key and tricky. If Todd Gurley still has some juice left, which I believe he does, which I think him coming back to Georgia will energize things, and the knee, I don't think, will be an issue. So Todd Gurley, the addition of him is really big, and that's what I think about that. He is helping that Falcons grade. Just him signing alone is giving the Falcons at least a C grade and keeping them out of the negative. And then let's just move on to Laquon Treadwell. I think this is a decent signing. You have Julio Jones, who's the best receiver in football. That I don't need to explain the hell why. He's just a monster at what he does. He commands double and triple teams. And just be quite frank, even now in the league, and with a 34-year-old Matt Ryan, if he's great or if he's average, you still have to game plan to stop Julio Jones. Then you have Calvin Ridley, who's a rising star in the league, had 10-plus receiving touchdowns last season. You have a guy who's a legit number 2 who could potentially turn into a number 1. So Laquon Treadwell, even though he's been a bust, just to be quite frank, since entering the league, him being the third option at the receiver position sets him up to really turn things around with Atlanta. We know he has something to prove. We know that Matt Ryan's the type of quarterback who could help a young guy like him turn his career around. So that, again, puts the Falcons in a positive direction. Love the signing. Let's talk about Dante Fowler. 3-year deal worth $48 million. He has the ability. In 2019, he started 15 games, 11.5 sacks last season, 1 touchdown, 2 forced fumbles. He was an absolute monster. That's what got him his contract. Now, the naysayers will say Aaron Donald is the reason why he had so much production. I call it bullshit because he had the ability. We go back to even the Jags, 2017, 8 sacks. Playoffs, he shows up in the playoffs. 3 career playoff games, 3.5 sacks. He's a monster. 27.5 sacks total. And the thing I like about Dante Fowler is I think him pairing back up with Dan Quinn, which was the defensive coordinator when he was at Florida, is going to help his career. It's going to rejuvenate it. He is a legit top pass rusher, and at 25 years old, he's the upgrade they needed. He says he wants Michael Strahan's 22.5 sack record. Do I think he's going to get that? No, but shit, at least he's aiming for something positive. He's been arrested 3 times, had his legal issues, but I think that's all behind him. Still a young guy. This is a boom type of move, and I love it. Now, finally, and probably the most questionable move they made was trading for Hayden Hurst. They traded away, this is what happened. The Ravens, they traded a 5th-round pick and Hurst for a 2nd-round pick and a 5th-round pick. for the Falcons. 6'5", 260 pounds. Now, what I like about it is he's still young, 26 years old. And when you look at the tape, and even his tape at South Carolina, what I liked about him is he was a threat in the passing game, especially over the middle. Now, is he going to be as good as Austin Hooper? To me, no. He doesn't have the production so far. 2019, the production was He had 30 receptions, 349 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Not really much to dissect when it comes to that. And that's why people in the media, Falcons fans, are like, why the hell would you trade a second rounder for this guy? But at the end of the day, they didn't want to pay Austin Hooper, which I believe they should have. Really solid player. Hayden Hurst wasn't the worst signing of them all, but it wasn't the greatest when it came to this trade. And I'm not being a Falcon homer either. I just want people to know I'm not a freaking Falcons fan. I just live in Atlanta right now, and I'm covering and breaking down what the hell I see. Now, finally, in conclusion, I'll give the Falcons a solid B+ this free agency / trades, basically their offseason transactions, their activity in a pivotal season where Dan Quinn likely will be fired if they don't deliver. Thomas Dimitroff, the general manager, as well. And even Matt Ryan, to just the fact of there'll be a new GM and new coach, which usually means new quarterback and rebuilding. The Falcons, a solid B+. Now below, like, comment, and subscribe. Also, follow us on Twitter and Instagram as well, and like us on Facebook. I'm Jansen Harris with the Just Good Network.